In order to fulfill this process, there are some tools like Opswork with AWS, okay, and deployment manager with Google, GCP, Google Cloud Platform. This is around cloud. When I talk about particularly AWS, Amazon, and Google, okay. But when it comes to on-premises, Chef, Ansible, Puppet, etc. So what they does is these tools will create environments. When I say create environments, it means that this tool mostly deals with IaaS and PaaS. So with the help of these tools, you can create VMs, you can install applications on the VMs, and you can make this VM as a ready for creating the deployment. Hosting your product or whatever it is. It means that with the help of these tools, you can create development environment, testing environment, pre-production environment. So sometimes what happens on our SDLC, it is not like we do have different phases, development, testing, pre-production, and different. But sometimes we'll require to create the same environment again and again. For example, after a developer writing that code, you'll deploy the same code onto the testing environment and you'll hand over it to the tester, right? So what happens, it doesn't mean that all the testers can work on that same testing environment. So for that, again, in the testing environment, there are a lot of different uh, people you'll observe, like security testing, functional testing, performance testing. So different kinds of testing you'll have on the testing. So for each and every kind of category people, you have to create an environment. So we'll create different environments like test one environment, test two environment, test three environment, and you'll hand over that to different people who works on the same category. Okay. Now it means that you are creating the test environment. Again, you are recreating the same, and you're handing over it to different people for different testing purposes. In order to in order to create that environment, if you does it in a traditional way, like go to VMware, create VM, and SSH into the VM and uh, install the packages. It's going to take a lot of time in the traditional approach. Even with the AWS also, like go to in AWS EC2 console, uh, create EC2 instance, and then SSH into that and install all the softwares. So for making this process very fast, we come up with this concept configuration management. Okay, so what exactly this tool does is it automates the creation of environment. When I say automated, automates on the back end by using these tools. Okay, we write scripts. Okay, these scripts gonna help us by communicating with this AWS or on-premises VMware, and they launch VMs and take the installation of packages. Everything will write everything in detail each and with the help of these tools on our scripts, and we parse that scripts each and every time when we are required to create our environment. So this is how this configuration management works. The basic agenda of configuration management is to create environments that can be done with a lot of tools available in the market. We'll talk about particularly Chef, CHEF. Okay, with the help of this Chef, you'll create VMs and you'll install softwares on that VMs and etc. Now, talking much about this Chef, I want to have an overview about the Chef architecture, how it works. So, basically, on Chef, you'll have one master server called Chef Master, and you'll connect all your physical servers in your data center. See, guys, I'm talking about this on premises, not about the cloud. You'll connect all your physical servers. On each and every physical server, you'll have the operating system installed or anything, right? So, to this Chef Master, so I'll call this servers whichever you connect to this Chef Master. It doesn't mean that it has to be a physical server. Maybe you can connect virtual machine also as to a Chef server. It's up to you. Now, by installing small piece of software on that nodes called Chef Client. Now, this will listen to your Chef server because you installed a piece of software Chef Client and you have configured on the Chef Client configuration saying that, hey, this is your master. Whatever your master says, please listen. Now, the system where you work on that system, you have to install a piece of software called Chef Workstation. All these names, Chef Master, Chef Workstation, Chef Client, are the softwares that you can find on the market, and this is an open source project. You can download and you can install and you can test it if you want. Now, from the Chef Workstation, you'll connect to this Chef Master. On the Chef, you write scripts by using Ruby language. On the Chef Workstation, you'll write all the scripts. The scripts you'll parse it to the Chef Master, and Chef Master will parse that scripts to the Chef clients, and Chef clients will does whatever that you written on the scripts. Like if you say, "Hey, install Apache," now Chef Master will parse that to all the Chef clients, and it will install Apache. Talking much about in detail, so the scripts can be written in the way we call the terminologies. You'll find two things. One is cookbooks and recipes. Now, when talking about cookbooks, usually I will talk out of the subject. Now, in order to prepare a tea, you require some ingredients, right? Like sugar or the tea powder, the bowl, milk, everything. Those ingredients are nothing but recipes. So after having the recipes, you have to create tea. There should be an step-by-step process in order to create a tea. First, you have to light your stove and then keep the bowl and then pour the milk, sugar. So that process, how to prepare the tea from the recipes. I mean, from by using that recipes is nothing but cookbooks. On the cookbooks, you'll have all the listed process. So this process gonna use these recipes and it will perform the cook. Similarly, here on our Opswork, recipes are nothing but, if I assume that if you want to install the software installation file is nothing but a recipe. Okay, and the cookbook is, it consists of how to install that software and when to install that, everything in detail. For example, I have 3 servers. I want to install HTTPD Apache only on these 2 servers. So what I'll do, on the chef master, I'll create a group, and for that group I'll add these 2 servers. Assume that I'll create a group called web servers group or Apache group. Now I write a cookbook from my chef workstation and I'll parse that cookbook to my chef servers web server group. Now chef server will gonna install that Apache only on these nodes that are in the work this group web server group. This is how the chef works. Why we are talking about particularly chef and the architecture is, Amazon is also automating the creation of environments, again with the help of a service called Opswork. Okay, on the back end, on the Amazon data center, they are using Chef software. Okay, they just changed the UI and they are calling it as Opswork. That's the reason whenever I point my cursor on Opswork, it says configuration management with Chef and Puppet. Okay, recently Amazon added Puppet 2 for automating this environment creation. Okay,
Karthik,
now
is Ruby, do we have to learn Ruby language to work on that?
yeah, sure. If you want to become an for this you have to learn the Ruby language because scripts gonna be written in the Ruby only.
Okay, like okay. But Amazon CL, the command line interface uses YAML, right?
With the YAML, you can call the services of
Mhm.
AWS only, but you cannot perform the Chef native scripts can be written has to be in Ruby.
Yeah, if you use tools like Ansible, Ansible uses YAML, right, to write the playbooks. So that would be much more simplified, right?
Okay,
Ansible.
second guys. Yeah. Now, yeah, you're asking. Okay, Ansible uses on the back end. YAML can't we use? Okay, Ansible uses YAML.
Ansible Ansible uses YAML to write playbooks.
I think Ansible uses YAML to write programming languages. Okay.
In that way, you don't have to learn two scripting languages.
Okay, but here we are not using Ansible, right? We are using Chef. Different tools have different programming languages that supports.
So is does AWS support Ansible?
No, doesn't.
Doesn't. Okay.
No. AWS does not have any services on the backend that runs the Ansible. Okay. If you say AWS supports Ansible, yeah, you can do that. Like you can take one EC2 instance and you can install Ansible. And
Yeah, that
on the
is.
Ansible, on the Ansible playbook, you can write scripts like on the same server, Ansible server, you can install AWS CLI and you can call the AWS like, hey, launch EC2 instance by writing the AWS CLI command, and every time you have to call that particular command or script or placing that command in the script, and you have to call that script by using the Ansible playbook. It means Ansible calls that script calls the backend of AWS CLI and it interacts with AWS and it performs like launching an instance and everything.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's the different way you can do. Now, talking about our Opswork. Now, when you see that console of the service, here is saying it's easy to launch because it will be you can create an environment within few simple steps. Uh, for doing that, first you have to have a chef server. Now, with the help of Opswork service, you create chef server and then you connect to the chef server by using chef workstation. For doing that, you have to install this chef workstation on your laptop. I mean, from in my laptop. Before doing that, we'll see how do we launch the chef server. Here you can see the button chef automate server. Click on that. You have to name the chef server in which region you're trying to create. And you have to select the instance type. Now he's having only three instance types. One is m4.large, r4.xlarge, r4.x. Under that, what size of compute and memory is offering? He just noted that. He's saying that with the m4.large, you can maximum it can handle 200 nodes and R4 500 nodes, and this is R4.2x like 500 plus nodes. The key that we use for logging into that server right now. Okay, let me create one key. Go to EC2. There are no running instances. Go to key pairs left side. There is a key called our key -sync, but I don't have that key. That's the reason I'll create one more key. Test case 13. Create. So it automatically downloaded here. You can see. Now I'll go back to my Opswork service. Switch to Singapore region. Create chef automate server, and the server name is test case. Right. Go to Singapore. and select the small. Now, in which VPC of that region you are trying to create this automation service, default, any particular subnet. Did you want to provide the IP address, public IP? Then only we can connect, right? Yes. In security group, okay, we'll use launch widget one security group. Any roles? This is the role Amazon has automatically creating and he named itself. What is saying? Select the service role that allows AWS Opswork to interact with other AWS services on your behalf. I told you that every service, if wants to interact with other service, it requires roles. He's saying if you have a role, you can select it. If not, Amazon will automatically create a default one for you. Now, even for Chef software, now and then you'll have new version changes, right? If you want to update that, select any particular time window, and it takes a backup of Chef server too. You may ask, hey Karthik, what that consists in the backup of Chef server? It consists of all the information like which workstation, web group information, and all the Chef client nodes that are in the Chef master. If something happens, whenever you have another Chef server you launched on that VPC, you can import all that information to that new Chef server with the if you have the backup. So this, if you want to take yes, when and what is the time window, and how long the backup copies you wanted to keep, last 10 days or 5 days or 4 days. No, just review whatever you did. You give in the name, choosing the region and the instance type, key pair, everything. And when you say launch, it will launch. Now, AWS Opswork is creating your Chef Automate server. This takes about 20 minutes. Okay, that's great. The steps that he is doing to install is creating an Elastic IP for that instance because we told we require a public Elastic IP. I think I told you the difference between the public IP and Elastic IP. If you Elastic IP is IP that if you assign to any instance, whatever the state of that instance, it is in power off or power on, the IP address would remain same to that instance. But when we talk about public IP, if you power off it and you power on it, the public IP would change to new public IP. Here, that remains ideal in Elastic. Next, we launch an EC2 instance and install Chef Automate server. Okay. In the meantime, he's saying, hey, make sure you download the following before your server is online. What is that? Sign in credentials for your Chef automation dashboard. This Chef server will have a beautiful UI where you'll work on that. For interacting with that UI, web console UI, you require login credentials. He's saying, yes, I download that in the meantime. Second, he's saying, install starter kit to your Chef automated server. I told you the workstation you want to have. Now, download the sign credentials of your Chef automate dashboard. What are that? Username is admin, password is this. Okay, I'll download it. Okay, I downloaded it in one CSV file. And second, download the starter kit and follow the documentation to finish the setup when your server is ready. Okay, what is the documentation consist of? Let me open a new tab and download the starter kit. Here it is downloading a zip file. The server is still creating status. and the version is 12.16.4. This particular region and time automation, and this is the endpoint that you use to connect to that server. I mean to log into that server UI. Now another question. Before you work with Chef's automated server, make sure you have Chef DK development kit. Is that like workstation? For doing that, again, you have to install. It's directly taking you to Chef official website. Downloads development kit 2.4. What is my system? Windows. Okay, what is my Windows 10 or it's Windows 10 64-bit download. Now here you can see all that in detail activity what exactly going on with Chef server. Started creating stack. By using that stack it will launch Chef server. Everything. Any backups it has. You have if you want to get started guide, these are some links that helps you to start with this. How to upload a cookbook and attach a node. These things. Now what happens is when you write cookbook and parse this chef server of your Opswork service gonna interact with cloud formation and it will create stack. Under that stack you launch all instances and softwares on that instances, everything. So Opswork service will call the cloud formation. Cloud formation was the one who creates a real environment. Any doubts on this topic, guys?
No, Karthik.
Okay. And moreover, after this class, I think we will be done with all the topics, right? So, we have to wait till it launches. I am creating a server, test case one server, chef. Want to create another server. Again, chef create chef automated server. No, I don't want chef. If you say I want puppet, I'm seeing actually this puppet has been I think recently added. I haven't seen it on the last batch. That's the reason I'm a little bit confused. Puppet mostly works for software installations, especially for Windows systems. It doesn't mean it doesn't run on Linux. It does, but mostly people use this Puppet when they are dealing with Windows systems on the data center. Every configuration tool has some graphics and some advantages. Depending upon your required, you have to choose that which best suits for you. So people what they do is usually they store all the cookbooks and everything on the Amazon S3 also, or even you can store that things on AWS Code Commit or Git anywhere, and you can create the environment list and you can store it in .rb or .json format, Ruby or JSON. Okay, even it supports the JSON too and Ruby too. These are some commands like to list all the cookbooks, knife cookbook list. This is like it's better you start with going through this getting started guide of AWS Opswork. It helps a lot. You'll find in detail commands and everything on that. Okay, and our server is ready, I think. Now we'll see how the UI of that server looks. We have to allow the traffic, all traffic to my IP. Now if I refresh, I should get that. So this is the Chef server UI, and copying the username and password. Here you can see that the right now no nodes are connected. What nodes? There are no 0 to 0 nodes are connected. Out of that, how many nodes are running? What is the status of the nodes? Everything you can see from here in detail. The overall status of the nodes. You can categorize the servers and everything on organization basis. So there is an this is like predefined workflow. First verify, approve, build, accept, deliver, union. If you want any workflows according to your needs, you can create one and you can add. I told you like you'll have one pipeline. Assume that this is one pipeline where all this has different stages. You can modify the stages according to your requirement also. You can create a lot more users. I'm installing Chef Development Kit on my system. It is like taking a long time. Guys, I think it's gonna take a lot of time. I don't know what's happening behind, but it should install. It doesn't take this much long time. Okay, we have development kit. Okay, on the backend, Chef development kit uses our Windows native PowerShell. From here, you can write scripts and everything. Mm, I'm searching for this chef where exactly this install development kit so that I can change the configuration files to connect to the server. Or you can do it from parsing the commands from here also. You have to connect, like for AWS CLI, we have a command like AWS config where you'll provide the access key and secret key, right? Similarly, here with chef, I don't know exact commands. You can get started with this getting started guide, and that's it, guys. These are all the different cookbooks, or it's like a community. You can go through this community. There are a lot of cookbooks available on the online. Just go through that. The best I suggest is first go through this AWS Opswork white paper. I mean documentation. This is like a Bible guide to everyone. Okay, always start with user guide, and then you can come up with different things. API, how to call an Opswork with API. That's kind of further. You'll have a different guide, API guide. Under that API guide, you'll find different programming languages like through Java API or .NET, PHP, Ruby. Yep, that's it, guys. That's it for today. Any doubts you have?
బ్రో ఇంతకుముందు విన్నాం ఇద్దరు.
Hmm? Okay, that's it. And we'll meet up in tomorrow class.